Hey you guys, so a while back I bought a cool little welder. It was about this big and it was a 90 amp little flux core welder because I wanted to be able to build things instead of just kind of tinkering and fixing things. It's really hard to actually make something or modify something heavily without a welder. We have all kinds of projects around here that I need to be using a welder for. Lots of things that I just want to do that sound really fun, and so I got this little welder and it was super cool. For my first project in years, I picked something that I knew was going to be really hard to mess up. One of our trucks had a really old, rusted out bumper that looked like it had run into a couple trees at some point. So I took that off, chopped it up, and did what I felt like was a slight improvement on it, but it was totally from scratch, and so I just kind of scrounged whatever metals we had laying around, and it looks like a bumper now. You'll see the finished product, but yeah, that's all it's going to be today. Check out the video, and I'll show you how I did it. This is the rattiest, most hillbilly bumper I've ever seen. I am going to have a hard time matching that quality of weld right there. Here's what we've got so far. I decided to bend the bars in here because I just didn't like the way that they looked coming straight out. We've got the bar coming straight across. I'm gonna These actually don't look bad. It's like, let's see. Well, I definitely underestimated how curved the bumper still is because fit under the grill without leaving a gap there. But that's okay. I'll just weld in a piece there and then weld a piece across to the corners. I ran into a problem. What I've got is the sheathing that I'm basically putting on top of the bumper and underneath the bumper to give it a little bit more shape instead of just being a strip across the front like it was before, is very thin, and I'm struggling to not burn right through it. So any spot where I have to join two thin pieces of metal together, I'm pretty much just burning right through it. And so I'll show you what I mean. Here you go. Okay, so I've come to terms a little bit with the thin metals. First of all, don't use thin metal. It's just not a good idea. I used what I had. I'm really regretting using that stuff, that galvanized metal. It's just really hard to weld. But I've got a couple of welds here that I'm not entirely ashamed of on this front part. I actually had to patch it together, which I was hating. So So there's, I have a thin piece in there. I'm not done with this. Basically what I've been doing is just tacking it like everybody says you should do. It takes forever, but it works. Guys, that is it for that disc. That disc lasted this entire project so far on one disc, and that's all that's left. Starting to realize that I pretty much just recreated the same bumper that I hacked up a couple of days ago. Okay, so I sprayed her down, scrubbed it with the TSP, and now I'm gonna go put the fuel shutoff solenoid on the blue truck while I wait for it to dry, and I'll come back and prime it. Guys, you're not gonna believe this. That is the plug that came on the one that I got. And this one up here is the one that's on the truck. It's like half the size and a different shape. What the heck? Alright. I'm not using the rust stuff too much on the galvanized part because it doesn't need it, and I don't know how much of it I have, so. And it says to leave for 24 hours before doing a top coat. I'm not going to do that because I'm in a hurry and I don't really care how long this lasts. I can just rattle can it again. Honestly, guys, that looks so much better already. Wow. I think the paint is really going to make it come together and not look terrible. Honestly, I feel like the paint hides a lot now that it's not like 4 different colors of rust and galvanized metal and stuff like that. It's still an ugly bumper, but it was free except for welding wire and spray paint. So there you go. I did spend quite a bit on welding wire because I made a lot of mistakes, and so I probably went through 3 or 4 pounds of welding wire. The paint is runny. You can see some of the rust texture underneath the paint on the front. It's crooked, and it's on one of the ugliest trucks in the world, but I'm proud of it still. So I hope you enjoyed watching my first welding project. I enjoyed it a lot. Learned a lot. Hopefully you learned something from my mistakes as well. The sad part is I don't actually have the welder to show you because shortly after I finished that project, somebody broke into one of my storage sheds and borrowed it permanently, so it is no longer there. So I'm kind of rebuilding my welding gear. I have a new welder on the way. My hood showed up yesterday, so hopefully we'll be back doing some projects soon. I think the next video is probably going to be something a little bit different, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. We promise to do more welding in the future, and I think it'll probably be something that we build more from scratch for a piece of equipment. So I won't tell you what it is. You'll have to watch future videos. So, all right, thanks for watching. That's it. We'll see you later.